Do you think this game's fair? We're talking about Crystal Palace. So the one really interesting part of this game are there are a number of ways that you can score points throughout the game. So it's not just if you have enough inventions, it's going to score points, but there's something called the buzz track. So the more buzz you have about your inventions and whatnot is the theory. You can score points there and actually score them on every round. You can score points on building inventions, on hiring inventors, and then there's also points along the way that you can score on different tiles and things like that give you points such as the ones at the Bank of England. Any other points that you can think of?
Any other points I can think of? Ha ha ha, I see what you did there. One cool thing about this game is you score points for a lot of the cards based on how quickly you take the action. So you play 2 seasons in 49, 2 in 50, and 1 in 1851. And if you score certain cards in 1849, you score maybe 16 points. If you score it in 1851, you score like 9 points. So it kind of punishes you for kind of building that engine, where it also gives you the advantage that if you're willing to maybe go into a little bit of debt with some loans or move a few things around, you're going to score additional points by getting that done early.
The artwork itself is a little bit drab in color scheme, though considering it takes place between 1849 and 1851, it makes sense and works with the theme of the game. Here you are inventors trying to show off your different inventions for the World's Fair taking place in London.
In this game you get a number of dice, multiple dual-sided player boards that vary based on player count. A good chunk of wood. The gears and the light bulbs, I think is what these technically are.
Yes, ideas and gears.
Ideas and gears are all shaped. Your player movement pawns that you use as assistants in the black market are shaped. The art on the cards is nice. The cardboard is thick. Component quality is higher than what I was expecting when I looked at the outside of the box. I will say that. And It's held up so far too.
And one of the kind of cool things of this game is, as Matthias had said, the boards are based on player count, so there's a lot of streamlining in this game to keep it tight, no matter what player count you're at, which definitely leads to a more enjoyable game at the lower player counts.
With the dual-sided boards, 2, 3, 4, 5, you're going to get a similar experience the entire way. It might be a little looser at 2 and 3, but it's still a tight enough economic simulation.
I am definitely a themed gamer, and this game is really cool because it kind of takes you into the world of the 1800s and the inventions that were there. So if you are Canadian and watch Murdoch Mysteries, this kind of feels at home, but the cards actually have just a little tiny titch of information there for the history buffs who want to know about the inventions. But the cool part is you can actually score additional points if you match the invention to the inventor. So that's kind of that extra little touch that they've done to really bring that theme home. So within the box, there's actually quite a bit of replayability from our perspective, in the sense that there's a lot of tiles that change every game. So not only do we have London Times, which is Station 6, but every game you can actually change what happens and how you score points. In addition, there are different tiles that come out each round. You're playing it over 5 rounds, and every time you play the game, you're going to be drawing different tiles, as well as there are approximately 30 inventions and 30 inventors. And again, those are going to change every time you play the game. So between the variable components that you can draw differently, there is a lot of variety within the base box.
Yeah, and you can loosely base a strategy based on the starting board state, but sometimes you have to be flexible because within this game, you use your dice as your bidding numbers, and you have to meet a certain criteria on a board. So, for instance, if a board piece has 3 pips, you have to do 3 or greater. Sometimes you can take an action and you will get nothing, just based on if you do not have a high enough bid. So tactically, there's a lot going on. You can try to kind of math it out, but if somebody takes your card or if you're not able to get things done right away, you're in trouble. So from game to game to game, depending on what comes out or how you want to play, you can play a different game. Another nice thing that we like about this game is the loan system. In a lot of games, loans are super punishing. In this one, it's still punishing, but you can take them whenever you want. You don't have to waste any turns, and you have the ability to pay them back at the end of the game. So you're never completely like stuck in the mud with no money at any time. So you can always do something, even if it's a little less optimal.
Absolutely. And as Matthias said, this is a dice placement game, but the cool part is it's not ambiguous as that you're just rolling and getting whatever numbers. You are choosing your numbers in secret, and they are your bid. So you can set your dice to be more optimal at higher numbers, but it's going to cost you more money. So as he said, you can take loans to do that, but it really comes down to the strategy you're taking.
And there's 8 different boards that we can see, plus the buzz track, and they all have their certain bit of value within the game. So you can't always go in and try to play the same game every time. So as we were saying earlier, based on what you bid and what's on the board, it changes things up. I would say probably my only complaint in this game are these dual-sided player boards. When you look at the back of the box, I think you get 10 or 12 countries, and you're like, wow, this is great, a whole bunch of variability. But really, it's just the only thing that changes on the boards are the bonus scoring three sections. So that is my only complaint, but I still feel it's a pretty minor complaint because ultimately at the end of the game, it only ends up being a handful of points. It doesn't really swing anything.
The really interesting part is how you get income in this game and the fact that you lose income every game. So if you're one of those people who is a engine builder, this game really can make you struggle because you can build up that engine one round and they can take it all back each round.
Yeah, it's the first game I think we've played where you lose that much income every round. So yeah, you can just play the income game, but sometimes you'll crash and burn. I've tried that a few times, but if you're just focusing on income, you're not getting a whole lot else done. So it's a yin-yang, lots of different balances going on. As of this shooting, which is February 2021, on the BGG store, they have a print-and-play expansion that looks pretty good. We haven't tried it yet, but we're definitely looking forward to that. The designer's put that up himself on the BGG files page, so go check that out if you do have the game.
Yeah. So overall, Matthias, what do you think? Is it going to be staying in our collection the next little while?
Yeah, I think so. I thought the first couple plays we had of it, or even just looking at the box, there's not going to be that much variability in reading the rule book because it had a perception of being super mean. We don't find it all that mean. Sometimes you do get bumped out of an action, but you can still, for the most part, do something. So I would definitely say this is going to stay in our collection for at least 20, 30 plays, and then we'll see from there.
Absolutely. And I mean, I just find that it's a nice quick game as well. It's only played over 5 rounds. Mm-hmm. So though it's a little bit laborious to set it all up because of the modular boards and all the different pieces to put down, once it's out, it's fairly easy just to play a second game.
Yeah, it's definitely do you want to play another game between the two of us? So that's always a good thing.
So in our collection, it definitely goes the distance.